Welcome, everybody, to the Wholesaling Inc. podcast. It is your host, Brent Daniels, and I want you to just take a moment before we get into this incredible interview, and I want you to think about how much business have you done in your last 90 days? Okay, really, I want you to take a look at your past, and I want you to look at how much did you earn, went to your bank account, went to your family's account in the last 90 days. Okay, and I want you to write that down. Then I want you to look at the next 90 days. Starting today, this is day one. In the next 90 days, what is your goal? My advice to you is this. Look at any 30-day period in the last 90 days and see how much you made, like the most that you made in a 30-day period, and make that your minimum standard for 3 straight months. Like times that by 3, and that is your goal for the next 90 days. Now, Brent, well, I haven't done any deals yet. Okay, great. Let's get to that first deal. Let's get from that place of faith to that place of fact, because right now you're being fueled by this podcast. You're being fueled by all these positive examples that's building up your momentum, building up your certainty that you can do this. So let's get that. If you've never done a deal before, you will not go past this 90 days without doing a wholesale transaction. Okay? Like, commit to it. This is it. You got to be certain. You got to make this a must. This is not a want. This is a must. And interviewing this leads beautifully. I'm leading you down a path beautifully to this interview that I'm about to start here with an incredible young man. He lives in Alabama, but he's doing business in Atlanta. I want to welcome to the Wholesaling Inc. podcast, Dillon Durance. Say hello, Dillon.
Hello. How are you guys doing?
We are doing well. I'm telling you, it's going to be better. Their day is going to be better after listening to your story because it's absolutely incredible. So let's give them a little bit of background. Let's give them a little bit to chew on, something to latch on to you and your story. Tell everybody about you.
Yeah, absolutely, man. My name's Dillon. I'm 20 years old. I'm from a small town of Graceville, Florida, actually. My journey towards wholesaling was kind of like everyone else's. I ended up trying to go to college for a semester. Couldn't do it. Made a 34 in my math class. Ended up dropping out after the first semester.
Yeah.
Yeah. And anyways, after that, of course, I was just trying to find myself. And I came across wholesaling, and here I am.
So was it a podcast? Was it YouTube? Did you have a referral? Did you have a buddy that was doing it? How did you find wholesaling?
Yeah, YouTube University. That's where I came.
So what were you looking up? Were you looking up real estate investing? Were you looking up? I'm always curious on this because it took me forever to find it. I was in the real estate, Dillon, I was in the real estate industry like 10 years before I'd even heard about wholesaling. You're 19 years old probably when you hear it, 18 years old when you hear it.
Right.
How did you even know what to look for?
Honestly, I was just one of those guys that didn't want to work for someone for the rest of their life. So I was really just looking up how to make cash online with businesses, etc. And then I came across wholesaling one day, and I just completely dove into it.
Love it. So were you always the guy that was reading business books, that was listening to podcasts, that was on YouTube, or was this totally new? I mean, you had just gotten out of high school.
Right. Honestly, as soon as my freshman year of college, I ended up moving to Panama City Beach, Florida, just to completely get away to find myself. But no, I was never that guy. My mindset completely changed about 2 years ago, and I haven't looked back since.
What changed it?
I don't really know. Just complacency. I didn't want to be complacent.
Did you have a job and you hated it? Have you ever had a job?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah, absolutely. My stepdad actually, he owns a peanut mill. So every summer I would work up there, get down in like 30-foot pits. When I realized I didn't want to work for anyone else, a wolf rat crawled by my face, and I was like, yeah, that's about it for me.
A wolf rat?
A
I don't
wolf
even
rat.
know what a wolf rat is.
The thing is like this big, seriously.
Oh
So I was like, okay, I'm done.
Oh my
So yeah,
gosh.
that was it. That was the turning point for me, man.
All right, so you start out on YouTube, you start learning about wholesaling, you're kind of like, wow, this is really interesting. What made you believe that you could do it?
I really don't know, man. Honestly, I've always been one of those like to grit and get through it, and find systems and ways to get things done. But yeah, just really just like determination.
So are you living by yourself at this point? Are you living on a university campus? Are you going to school
Right.
full
Yeah.
time? Like, what does your schedule look like as you're discovering? Because I assume you're going to class. In between
Right.
class, you're kind of thinking of other ways that you can be an entrepreneur. You're either on your phone, probably, right? You're looking up these.
Right.
You're looking up wholesaling on YouTube. You're watching these videos, and then you do a miraculous thing, which a lot of people listening to this podcast, or if you're watching this on the YouTube channel, Brent Daniels Real Estate on the YouTube channel, you can watch this interview. But you're watching about wholesaling, but there's a big difference, Dillon, and you know as well as I do, because you probably have friends or you have peers or you had talked to people
Yeah.
online or something that they want to wholesale, but they never take any action. Like,
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
what was the first action that you took? You watched a video and then you did what?
Honestly, I was working in a gym at that time, actually. A guy named, I forgot his name, I think Gary Parker or something like that, actually. We never closed a deal together, but I definitely got the confidence and, the motivation, the drive to actually, I can do this thing by myself. So, yeah, that's really when it started. And that journey started about a year and a half ago.
Okay.
Yeah. And I haven't looked back since.
So this Gary guy was doing real estate deals?
Yes, yes. He's actually the one that, to an extent, introduced me to wholesaling. I
Mm-hmm.
already knew about it, but he was the first person I knew that was actually doing deals on a daily basis. So,
See, I love this. I think it's really, really powerful for anybody listening. If you're just kind of getting in or just starting, or even you've done a few deals and you want to keep building your business or your team or your processes, I think it's really important that you take that extra step that says, okay, I'm learning about it from whatever media it is. Let me find something local that I can actually meet people that are talking about. Like, because listen, most of the human population is not talking and obsessing over wholesaling real estate. You know what I
right,
mean?
right,
Like we think they are because we're like in this like little niche, but
right.
most people have no idea what the hell we're talking about, nor do they care. You know what I mean? So
Absolutely.
getting around people that are interested and in love with it and in passion, you can find those if you just go to meetup.com for real. Meetup.com and you look around at different wholesaling or different real estate investing groups that you can go to. That's a great place to start. You know what I mean? That's a great place to find a local mentor. I always think that it's a huge advantage if you have somebody local that's done some deals, even if you share some of your deals in the beginning, the education and the instruction that you're going to get is going to be so incredibly valuable. Now, in some areas, it's really strange, Dylan, and I'm curious to know from your perspective. But in Phoenix, everybody shares everything. What's it like in your market? Are people real guarded with their business? Or are they pretty open to talk to new people?
Honestly, since now I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, TTP member actually, Ingo Shire,
Yep.
I've partnered up with him on basically every deal I've done in Atlanta so far. We're splitting everything. We've provided a lot of value to each other's business. And I'm really happy with how everything's going right now for sure. So now I can say we're very willing to spread the fruit.
That's incredible. That's what well, and I think that that's a huge advantage when you do whatever program you guys like are looking at or mentorship or whatever it is, whether it be the TTP program or Wholesaling Inc. or what any other ones. It's about that community. Make sure that there's a community involved there where you can connect. I mean, when you reached out to Ingo, how did that conversation go?
Yeah, I was like, hey man, look, I'm looking to get into the Atlanta market. I was going to see if you'd be okay with like partnering on a few deals. And of course, if it's making him money, he's going to be ready to go. So
It's
it was definitely
incredible.
something.
It's
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
simple.
We're
It's
both
that
providing each other value. So, I mean, it's a win-win for both parties.
awesome. So you're 20 years old now. You're full time wholesaling, right?
Full time.
And t- give me your schedule. What is your daily schedule right now?
So I'm waking up about 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm heading out to the gym. Once I get back from the gym, of course, I'm going through Mojo, looking at people that need to be followed up on and whatnot. And after that, of course, I'm getting my caller to call up his, normal leads or lists and whatnot. But yeah, after that, I'm on actually the text blasting platform, Lead Sherpa, and I'm sending out text messages while he's calling actually. So
And where is he calling from?
he's calling from Costa Rica. He's actually with Call Motivated Sellers.
Yep,
So
yep.
yeah.
Same group that I use. Yeah, phenomenal. So this person's calling in Atlanta, sending you leads, and then also you're using Lead Sherpa. You're text blasting out and getting some leads yourself. Are you following up with all those texts?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm following up with all the texts and the calls too. I'm actually working with my caller though at the moment.
Yep.
I'm actually working on him doing some acquisition stuff too
Love
though.
it.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Well, and I love tooting their horn because they've made me so much money, but they literally get the
yeah,
best talent, and I don't train any of them. You know, they're already trained,
right.
they're ready to go. Yeah, it's really incredible. So, how many hours are they calling for you a week?
He's calling 30 hours a week right now. Yeah,
Awesome,
yeah.
awesome.
He's doing a really good job.
And with those 30 hours, how do you get that's a lot of time, right? So I
Right,
always talk to people when everybody's like, "Hey, Brent, I want to hire like 5 Filipinos to make these calls." Somebody for, and it's like
right.
they're all going to go full time, and I was like, "Oh, so you're going to get 200 hours a week of calls." And they're like, "Yeah." I said, "Do you know how much data you need for that?
Yeah,
How
that's
many
incredible.
addresses and numbers and everything?" And I don't think people really get it. There is an equation there, and the equation is this: it's about 50 addresses per hour that they can call.
Right,
If you're using a multiple line dialer, if you're using a single line dialer, it's a lot. It's a third of that. But
right,
if you're thinking about hiring people to make the calls, just make sure that they have really good data. You don't want to go through a list more than 3 times. It's just a complete waste of
right.
time, and you're not going to
Your
talk to enough
contact rate
people.
drops to 5% most of the time. So if you go through it more than 3 times, so
And your contact rate's right around 10%.
right around 10%. Yeah. Once I went above 3 times or three a few times, and it's just gotten to like 4, 5, 6%. There's no reason to really contact anyone at that point. So
And so your caller, when they get a lead, where does it go?
it goes into Mojo, it goes into the Yes Mojo,
Uh huh.
and actually I end up just following up with them through Mojo.
So Mojo Sells is a dialing system. So do they alert you? Do they let you know, hey, this is a lead? Do you communicate with them through Skype or through WhatsApp? Like, how do
Yeah,
you?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. We use WhatsApp. He actually sends me an email as well, as well as a text, and then he puts it into the Yes group as well on Mojo.
Yeah, it's beautiful. You can easily, if you get a lead in the Mojo system, you can easily press hot sheet and then email that hot sheet. That's what I do in my
Right,
business. It all goes to my virtual assistant, Lisa. She then puts it into my Podio through InvestorFuse,
right,
which, you don't have to. You can link it itself if you
mm,
want, but I like it really clean. You know what I
right,
mean? And then my lead manager from there makes sure that they're pre-qualified, and then we'll assign a task for one of my acquisition managers. So it saves a
right,
lot of time and process, but you're getting it like raw, right? You're just getting
right,
that
right.
lead.
Absolutely.
How many of those leads do you think, when they say yes, or maybe they would consider an offer, how many of those leads truly, like truthfully, are pre-qualified? You know what I mean? That are actually
Uh,
decent leads versus they're just kind of they just want you to do like a free valuation.
right. Honestly, I tell him not to send anything that's like iffy. Only the high qualified, highly motivated leads. I'm not trying to waste mine or his time on any like just
Right.
what's the word for it? Yeah, you know what I mean.
Well, the people that just, would you consider an offer on your property? Sure, everything's for sale at the right
Right,
price. What are you going to give me? Well, condition's really important. The condition of the property is really important. Have you done any remodeling to your kitchen and bathrooms in the last 5 years? Oh, don't worry about that. You just send me an
right,
offer and I'll let you. No, that's not a lead, guys. If you're
right,
listening
right.
to this or
Absolutely not.
watching this, that is not a lead. A lead is somebody you're going to know in 15 to 30 seconds whether or not that person is going to be a lead or going to do business with you. It's just that instinctual once you have enough experience. And luckily for you, what's your caller's name?
His name's Dillon as well. He's the same. Both of our names are Dillon. Yeah.
Yeah, so Dillon probably knows after hours and hours and hours and dozens and probably hundreds or thousands of conversations, if somebody's going to do business with you guys or not. So that's such a
Right.
phenomenal asset for you. Okay, so you get that lead and you're doing the lead follow up now?
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. I'm actually, like I said, I'm trying to kind of like ease him into the acquisitions role as well. Because I mean, the way I look at it is he's already making contact with these sellers and building rapport. I mean, if he's also following up with them as well, that's just a win-win for both parties. They're going to be more comfortable, and he already knows the situation more than anyone. So
Yep. Yep. Love it. Love it. And then at what point, and you're doing all this virtually.
right, correct, absolutely
So this
virtual.
is all just on your phone. You're just hand dialing.
That's right.
Right. And then you get it teed up, and then does Ingo then go to the appointments? Is that what happens, or?
Right. Well, normally we're actually able to get the contract signed virtually as well.
Oh, walk me
I
through
know it.
it. Walk me through it. So how does
So
this happen?
right. So, I'm tendering to the leads and everything. We're making, that really homegrown lead follow up. You know what I mean? So then once we get it under contract, he's doing all the other stuff. He's doing the disposition. And then he lets me know when we close. That's about as easy as that goes.
Love it. So he's built the cash buyer database there. He's the one
Right. Yeah.
nurturing that. He's the one keeping that beautiful, healthy tension between himself and the cash buyer so that they make the decision quickly so they get the deals, but also that they're spending. And before this podcast started, you told me what you're averaging right now per deal.
Right.
Why don't you share that with the audience?
Yeah, absolutely. I ran the numbers a few days ago. I'm not 100% accurate, but it's between I think it's $35,000 or $40,000, is somewhere between that range.
Between
Yeah, I mean
35 and 40 per deal in
per
Atlanta.
per deal. Yeah, absolutely. The first deal that we closed in Atlanta, actually was for $65,000, and
Okay,
we
wait,
split.
wait. Let's break it down. Let's break that one down. Let's honestly let's not just
Right.
talk about it. Let's actually like break it down. So 65,000. So was it a call or a text?
It was a text. It was lead Sherpa.
Okay, so if Lead Sherpa is available, guys, in your market, I believe it's $1,000. They have a couple different packages, but it's $1,000 a month. If you use the coupon code TTP on either package, I believe you get $50 off with TTP. But you need to make sure that they're available. They're not available in every market, but TTP does get you a discount code. So definitely check that out. So you texted what list?
This was the code violations list, actually. Yeah, she was actually on the code violations and the vacant list. So there was multiple distress there.
Got it. So are you stacking your lists?
I'm not actually.
Okay.
Lead Sherpa, it was showing that she was on two lists.
Yep.
But I've actually started doing that currently now, actually. So it's helped
Good.
a lot.
Good. So here's the deal. Like this is something that I've really been paying attention to, Dillon, a ton is stacking because I have like I think 780,000 addresses. Like
Oh my gosh.
yeah. Like skip traced and like in my list over the years. And it was all over the place. So I use now batch skip tracing. Obviously, that's where I
Right.
get the phone numbers. But they have a new tool called Batch Lead Stacker. Oh my gosh, this thing's bananas. It updates you on all the vacant properties. I don't want to do an ad here, but I use that to see which ones are the like listed the most, and then I go after those like crazy, right? If there's
Right.
like 2 or 3 or 4 times that they're tax delinquent, they have code violations, they're pre-foreclosure, and it's a absentee owner. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
there's
Yeah,
so
they have to do something.
they
Yeah,
have to do something. So you had it on code. Where do you get your code violations list, by the way?
It's actually at Chuda Neelam. It's like I get him through an email, actually. Yeah, he gets me all of my code violations, evictions, divorces, and everything.
Is
So
this break that down? What's that resource?
it's let me look. It's at like ATCHUTANEELAM at gmail.com.
Awesome.
And just hit them up. Like I said, they're doing really well for me. So
Is this a person? Is it a company? What's a
it's
Chula?
I guess it's a person or a company. I know their data is spot on though.
Is it just in Atlanta?
No, they're worldwide or
Really?
nation. Sorry.
Nationwide. So give it to me one more time because
Yeah,
I'm not even registering it.
right. It's ATCHUTANEELAM, like at Chuda Neelam.
Chuda Neelam.
At gmail.com.
Got it.
Yeah.
Very cool. Awesome. Cost wise, what is that typically? Is it per
I think it's
address?
like yeah, it's like 30 to 40 cents per address.
Okay.
Just like everyone else, basically.
But there's
I'm actually using Flip This Real Estate List as well for some lists as well. So
Yep. Eric Torrente at flipthisrealestatelyst.com. Great. Two great resources. Okay, so you got it. You text them, and what do they say?
well, they're gonna say yes or no. I'm not gonna take a maybe. I hate maybes.
Right.
And of course, where we make our money at is through the follow up anyway. So I'm really nurturing that lead. And then I just kind of followed her through the process. I think it was probably a week later we closed a $63,000 deal.
So let's look at this from the pre-qualifying standpoint because in my experience with my guys, they can only get a very little bit of details from the texting. You really have to. The key to it is get them on the phone, right?
Right,
Get them on the phone and make sure that they're real, right? That they're
right.
legitimate, right? And so, are you just trying to see if they're close on price, and then you get them on the phone? Are you trying to see if they're motivated, then get them on? Like, What's your
Yeah,
process?
honestly, with this one, I didn't even get on the phone with her. This was my first deal on the app, so I didn't even get on the phone with her. I've never talked to her on the phone. But we had some real heart to heart conversations and everything. She was going through some things that my grandmother was actually going through, so we were able to relate on that. Once you're able to build that personal relationship with the seller, you're able to create some real magical things. So
Mm-hmm. Or just be a real human being to them. You know what I mean? Like
right,
really
absolutely,
communicate with, that whole you want to be an interesting person, be interested in people type of thing, right? You know what I mean?
right, yeah,
And it's so
absolutely.
true. So you're texting back and forth with her. She's saying yes, she does want to sell the property. What was the condition of the property?
Uh, she said it was terrible,
Yeah.
but it really wasn't in our eyes. I mean, all I saw was money signs, right?
Yep.
So, but no, it really wasn't in terrible condition at all. Maybe some carpet or some new carpet, hardwood floors, whatever you want to put in there. But I mean, just the standard renovations. And it was good to go. It was a $290,000 house when it's all fixed up, and we got it for I think 102.5.
How much in repairs do you think it needed?
I think it needed between 50 and 60,000.
Yeah.
So it wasn't too much.
So just real quick, let's just respect. Let's let this air out a little bit. You said it's
Right.
worth 290,000 fixed up, right?
That's right.
And you got
Mhm.
it for how much?
We got it for I think 102.5. Yeah.
102.5. People, I am telling you, every single day of the week, these deals are out there. It is.
They are.
It's like an old Robert Kiyosaki quote that I remember listening to when I was your age, when I was 20. I remember listening to Robert Kiyosaki, and he said that a deal of a lifetime comes around about once a week.
Yeah.
It really
Absolutely.
does. It really does. I mean, it's absolutely incredible. So then the condition was okay. It needed 50, 60. Her motivation was it empty? Was she going through an illness? What was the.
Right. Yeah. It was actually vacant, and she actually had just came down with cancer as well.
Mm.
Yeah. Pretty terrible thing, but we were able to help her out of that. She was ready to get rid of it, and we were there to help.
Yep. Yep. And that's the whole thing. I mean, that's the only
That's the
way.
whole
That's the
story of the
only way that
business.
you make $63,000 is by providing $63,000 worth of value and solving
Right.
two people's problems: the distressed property owner and a cash buyer that doesn't want to go around and look for properties themselves. They don't want to text people. They don't want to deal with the emotions of the seller.
Right.
They don't want to be going through all this stuff. That's why we make the big checks. That's why wholesaling's hitting the lottery. It's a
It
cash
really
machine. It
is.
really is. So then, so the condition timeline was she was ready now. Her
She was ready
motivation
right now.
was she was sick and it was vacant, and the price was 102.5, and you sold it for how much?
It was 165, I think, or something. Yeah, it was 165. Yeah. So that was right.
And you netted how much?
We netted 60. What is that? Do some math for me. What's that? 60 something, 63, I think it was.
Uh
We
huh.
we, we had 32.5 down the middle is what it
I'm
was.
not even adding right now. I'm just excited. I'm ready to ring this bell. So hold on a second. I
Beautiful.
I love it. It's just it's incredible. I mean, this business is absolutely incredible. You were able to, and the interesting thing now about text messaging is you're getting a hold of people that won't answer their phone. You just
Right.
won't, and
Absolutely.
I think it's powerful. I think that first step is to try to get a hold of them on the phone. But I think people ask me all the time, do you call and text the same list at the same time? Yes, a hundred
Yeah.
percent. 100% all the time. I absolutely do. Is it TCPA compliant? Yes. Are we doing
Yeah.
everything right? Absolutely. You know what I mean? It's just, it's incredible business, but you need to get really accurate data. Seriously. I mean, if you had
Right.
bad data, if you're cheap on your data, you are not going to get in contact with anybody, right? So make sure that you get really accurate data. You and I both use batch skip tracing. If you use the
Right.
TTP code, you get it 18 cents. I'm just letting you know. I'm pushing it because, guys, you need to get good data. Don't waste your time. You're like not talking to anybody, getting discouraged, and then not doing it. That's the worst thing that I can imagine for you. I want to have these stories inspire you, but also give you the tools that you need to be successful. So now you're rocking and rolling. You're 20 years old. How much have you made this year?
I've made $112,000 this year. Yeah.
$112,000 at 20 years old.
That's
How
right.
you feeling? I mean, how's your brain?
That's
How's your
incredible.
thoughts? Right?
It's incredible. Like I said, quarter one and quarter two of this year, I was at 30,000. And quarter three and quarter four, I really decided to just step it up. Put my head down and start grinding. And I've made 84 or 85,000 over the past 4 months. So
Well, and over those past 4 months, you've been really awesome in the group, sharing your experiences, sharing what's going on, sharing with me. And you were like, I was like, oh, we got to get you on the podcast. This is incredible. You're going to inspire. And you're like, no, Brent. No, not until I go over six figures. I'm not going to be on here. I don't want to be one of those guys that did a couple deals and then,
right,
people reach out and I don't feel like I have what it takes to respond to them and communicate and know what I'm doing. But you said if I get to six figures, I'll let you know. And now you're
right.
here and it's just absolutely incredible. So how do people get a hold of you that want to reach out? Do they DM you on Instagram? Do they find you, email you? What's the best way?
Yeah, absolutely. You can reach me on Instagram. It's oh gosh, I think it's like Dillon Durance underscore or something like that. I made it when I was like 15. But yeah, you can look me up and it's Dillon Durance on Instagram.
Okay, good. And any website or any other way to find you?
I don't
No.
think so. I don't
Okay.
really have. I was trying to stay off the radar as much as possible.
Okay. Sure, I get it. I get it, 100%. So give some advice. I mean, give some advice for somebody out there. Maybe they're yeah, maybe they've done deals. Maybe they've done. I mean, you did 30 grand. I remember you texted me. You were reaching out. You're like, man, I got to turn this thing on. I'm working. I'm working. I'm working. I mean, what? Give somebody some advice on turning the corner from going from 30 grand to now quarters where you're going to be making. And by the way, your fourth quarter is going to be as stellar, if not more. Right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I've already got 27K on the books, and I think we're
Mm-hmm.
like 11 days into it. So,
Right.
so yeah, it's incredible. But no, stay consistent with your marketing. That's the only thing I can say. If you're not consistently marketing, you're not going to consistently get deals
Yep.
at the end of the day.
Yep. And what he means by marketing is prospecting. He means be
Right.
proactive out there. He means reach out, like keep it consistent. If you're going to do it yourself, then here's the key that I'm just going to add a little bit onto that, Dillon, is you know what? If you do what you can, do whatever you can to be consistent. So what I mean is if you can only do 10 minutes worth of calls a day, do 10 minutes of calls a day, but do it for every single day. You know what I
Right.
mean? Don't do 5 hours one day and never do it again. Like build up your endurance and it just be consistent. That's the biggest thing. It's like exercising, or for the first time or getting back into exercise. It's about the
Right.
consistency. It's not about killing yourself so you don't do it again. So, like you were saying, you got to be absolutely consistent. That's
Right.
incredible.
Absolutely. 100%. That's the name of the game. If you're not prospecting every day, for at least some time, you're not going to consistently get deals. So
It's just quality conversations with distressed
that's
property
it.
owners. That is the key to the business. Quality conversations with distressed property owners. If you are consistent at that, you will win. You will win every time. It is a law, okay? This isn't a
That's
theory.
right.
This is a law, like cause and effect, like gravity. Okay, so awesome, man. Well, I really appreciate you jumping on the podcast. I know that I had to pull you onto here, but I think that you've really just, you've inspired a lot of people. Maybe they're younger, maybe they're older, and they're like, man, if this 20-year-old kid can do it, I can do it. We want to inspire, we want to be inspirational, but also we want to be instructional. We want to give you the tools. We want to let you know that you can do this. You have to take the action. This is not a
Yeah.
want
Absolutely.
anymore. That you cannot
Yep.
want to be a wholesaler. You cannot want to be a superstar wholesaler. It must happen, right? Just like
Absolutely.
Dillon seeing a wolf rat in his face. It was no longer wanting to do something or wanting to be an entrepreneur.
It
It
had to
was
be
a
done.
must. Yeah. And he had the
Yeah.
certainty and you have that expectation. And that's a huge thing. When you expect something to happen, it's much different than if you just want it. So powerful. Thank you for being on this,
Thank you,
Dillon.
man.
And for anybody out there listening, if you're interested in joining the most proactive group in real estate investing, you got to go to wholesalinginc.com/TTP. Wholesalinginc.com/TTP. Scroll down, check out what we're about, and then scroll all the way down and keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling because you're going to go through dozens of testimonials. Check it out. If it feels good in your gut, sign up for a call. I'd love to work with you personally. Until next time, Dillon. Great job, buddy. Thank you so much. And everybody
Thank
else
you.
out there listening to you, I encourage you to talk to people. Love you. See ya.